Papercrafters, welcome to my channel if you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I want to make this fun card with you. Now it was inspired by Nicol Spor. She used dies that give you the image of little animal slippers, and she had them on legs, and I just love that idea. I was chatting with my friend Benita from Under a Pile of Papers, and that's the name of her channel, by the way. I wasn't talking to her. Under a Pile of Papers. I leave links down below to her video that she made and Nicole's video. But I was talking with Benita and I was saying we have products in our stash. I wonder could we make a similar card? So she used some made to surprise puppets for her slippers, and I've used the Papercraft Society box number 59 for mine. Now in Benita's and Nicole's cards, their legs and slippers don't move, but in mine they do move, and it's such a simple mechanism. You don't need dies for it. It's so easy. But so I'm going to quickly go through the products that I have used to make this card, and you can have a look and see what you have in your stash and maybe make something similar. So like I said, I'm using the Papercraft Society box number 59. It's designed by Helen Griffin, and all the little animals, you get the full body. For the card I'm going to make with you, I'll be using the cat, and you can see the full body. The cat isn't here, but that's the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to cut the body off the cat to make my little fun animal slippers. So that's the box I'm using for the little animals that I'm using. Inside the box we get an embossing folder. I'm going to use that. I'm also going to use the stamps and the dies that we get for doing my little animals. I'm going to use a sentiment from the Made to Surprise Moving Along Sentiments and the A5 stamp set. I've used in this card a little leaf from Love from Lizzie, and this was from the October 2024 kit. I'm also going to use the nesting label dies from Love from Lizzie, and that's what gave me my lovely little sign here. I'm going to use the arch dies for the little slippers. It's what my little animal head will sit on in the other card. I didn't use it here, but it's what I'm going to use to give it that slipper look. The pattern papers I'm going to use for the card we're going to make is these ones, Showstopper Editions, and I use the little flower ones. In this one, I have used the My Favorite Things, and it's the gingham, and I use the grey in it. My background papers that I used here for this card are from this paper pad here. It's a Craft Sensations paper pad, and this is an older one again that I have from my stash. And on the back of this pattern paper, it gives you not only this one, it gives you this. So that's what I've used for my floor and my walls in this card. For my card I'm going to make, I'll be using the Made to Surprise wooden fence embossing folder as my floor. For my little hands here on either side, I used the Feeling Happy die set with my little hands here. For the number I'm going to put on my other card, it's a special card. I've used the number 7, and this is from the large modern numbers from Made to Surprise. And then finally, for the pattern paper I'm going to use in my other card, I'll be using this, the Craft Consortium paper pad, and yeah, I love the papers in these. So that's all the products that I have used between this card and the card we're going to make. Let's go ahead now and make our card together. So what you're going to need to make today's card is a card base measuring 8 by 8, and this is a shop bought card. You can have this as a top folding card or a side folding card. I'll probably do a side folding card with this one. I have a piece of my circus pattern paper. It measures 7 3/4 by 5. I've also got a piece of what I'm calling the floor. This is craft card. I've used the embossing folder on this piece. It's 7 3/4 by 2.5. This is a scrap piece of card that I had in my stash. I'm going to bridge the gap with that, and I'm using a piece of white cardstock. This piece measures 7 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So we'll have our floor, our skirting board, and our wallpaper. Now, for the mechanism, I'm going to make this. So it's 2 strips of cardstock, a little piece of card at the back. I've stuck those two together, and then I've punched out a hole. So for my one, I have 2 little pants legs here, and I have what I'm calling a support piece. So this support piece is 2 inches by 1.25 inches, and my little pants legs, they're 4 inches long and they're 1.25 inches in width. And what I did was I cut up from the outside here up so it would taper. So if you mark in a little bit on both sides and then just cut up to it, it gives that, you know, tapered look to it. And I felt that it looks better done that way, but it's up to yourself. So this piece is going to sit behind these. I'm going to glue these on. I'll put them at just a little bit of an angle like that. And once they're glued in, then I'm going to use my little punch. You can use a die. I have one that measures 5/8 of an inch. That's the opening it'll cut. And that's what I've done on this one here. You can see it. And then what I've done is I've taken a 1/2 inch die, circle die, and I've die cut out some of my foam using that. And what I'll do is I'll stick that on here. I'll pop that on over it, and then I'll put my sentiment panel. This is the labels dies that I've used, and this one, it's about 4 inches by 3 1/8. If you don't have these dies, you can just use a piece of rectangle cardstock that you cut. So this piece is going to attach on here. I will add some foam along the top just for stability, but it'll sit on there, and then our legs will slide, and these are the legs that we're going to have. Now, my little cats that I have here on their slippers, you can see they're a little bit different to the slippers here. These ones, I just cut a little piece to go behind my bear, so it looks like the sole of the slipper, whereas this one, I gave them more of a rounded slipper look. So I used my arch dies to die cut out a little piece. And then I have a little piece in brown that I've slipped underneath it for the sole. And then I have a little piece in cream that goes behind that, so it looks like it's the leg, the person's leg. And then on top of that, I have my little cat, and I'll cut the head off and add a little bit of foam tape to that, so there's a little bit of dimension there and it sits up. And that's how I did my slippers for this one. Now, if you want, all you need to do is cut the little head off there and add another little piece behind it, kind of cut it to the same shape, so you'll have a sole. So you can either do it like the bears here, or you can do it like I've done my cat here. And I've just added a little bit of inking around my bear and around my cat to give a little bit of depth and dimension to them. So that's how I made my pants legs, how I made my little cat slippers. And the other thing then that I have is our little hands to go. So when our slippers are down here and this is up here, we'll have our little label here like so. I'll have my little hands from the Changing Faces Made to Surprise, and I've put a little ink blending on this one, whereas my masculine hands, I didn't give them nail varnish. The only other thing I have is this. So it's a strip of embossed cardstock using the embossing folder that came in the Papercraft Society box, and a little strip down here that is just in plain purple. So the embossed panel is 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch, and then my little bottom of my jumper, this is again 3 1/4 by 1/4 of an inch, and all I've done is I've just rounded off the corners a little bit because that's going to sit here. Our little label is going to sit there, and then our little panel will sit there, so it looks like the person's body. I know they're holding the sign quite low, but I think it, you know, it's a card. It doesn't have to be to scale and to size, and I thought that would look fun done that way. So that's all our pieces. What I'm going to do now is assemble my little legs so that they have the mechanism and that they can swing, and then assemble the card all together. So I'm going to do that with you now next. So I have everything I'm going to need for my little legs. I've got my liquid glue, and I'm just using a quick grab glue here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the back here, and I'm going to glue that down. And like I said, I'm going to glue it at a little angle because I want to have my legs, I want to have them straight but not too straight. I want the little cat's ears to just be short of touching. So I'll add a little bit of glue to the back of this one, and then I'll stick that down, and I'll just pop them into position that I'm happy with. So I think that looks good. I don't want them to look like they've one leg shorter than the other or anything, but that, I think that looks good at that little angle. So now I've that done, I need to pop a little hole into that, and again you can use a die or you can use a punch like what I have. Lovely. So there's our hole punched out. And now we'll be able to sit our little foam on top of that. Now, a single one will work fine. You can double it up if you like. It's up to yourself. I'm going to use a single one. I think that'll be more than enough. Now, before I pop this on, I'm going to take my embossing bag or buddy, whatever you like to call it, and I'm just going to go around the edges because they'll be a little bit sticky, and I don't want the paper kind of, you know, getting a little bit stuck on that. So I'll use that along there with the powder, so that takes any sticky off that. And then when I'm sticking this down, I'll take off the release paper, and I will use a little bit of liquid glue just to make sure that it sticks down. So now we have our little mechanism and we have our foam in there. I'm going to now assemble the card and put it all together. you've enjoyed my video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Blonde Cards and Crafts, it's free. And ding the bell, that way you'll be notified next time I post a new video. If you make this card, you can share it on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. And if you'd like to help support my channel, you can click the super thanks button down below. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye-bye.